Hey there, we just had a question about the stop step, which is just one way of calling a deceleration step. Whenever you're doing like a front lunge with momentum, you have this deceleration component where you're trying to slow down your momentum, and it's very knee dominant because I'm moving forward as I do it. So if you take the full stop step, this just means I'm going to take an extra step, make my forward momentum go, and then stop and use strength to catch myself. Knees might not be ready for that. It's like the #1 most vulnerable spot. So a little progression that one could use to build up to that was any sort of gentle, partial, two-legged, bilateral squat. So here I'm doing some rolling squats, and here my emphasis, same thing, is that deceleration, that eccentric loading, that drop, and then using my legs to receive that momentum and energy and put it down into the ground safely, gently. So starting there, if that feels good, I would move to a back lunge. So now we're going to move into one leg, unilateral. Stick is always helpful, especially for unilateral stuff. It can help you manage load, help you with balance, make your reps more consistent. So I'm going to take a stick along here. And even though I'm doing a back lunge, I'm not going to step and then shift my weight to the rear leg. I'm going to step back and keep that weight forward. So, you know, if your knees are really cranky, you might not be able to drop, you know, all the way down into a deep squatting position. So go to where you can, and then use that stick to gently take some of the load out of it. So back lunge would be the next one. We could do some alternating back lunges. Here I'm attempting to make this more knee dominant because that's what I'm training, that deceleration through the knee. Remember, pushing through your forefoot is going to connect with your knee. Pushing through your heel is going to connect with your hip. So another modification you can make is to focus on more heel drive and use your hips rather than your knees. Now it's not working on the thing that stop step is all about, but that's fine if your knees aren't there yet. And that can be used in just about any lower body movement where you can kind of play with heel or hip dominance. All right, I digress. So the next one would be to do a front lunge. So now we're adding that forward movement in, and I still have my stick with me for assistance, and I can switch it off for each side. So now I'm having to manage that momentum as I come forward. My whole body is stepping forward, and I have to manage my momentum on that foot, which makes this a more aggressive progression. And then the next one would be that full stop step. So I could, and again, all I'm doing is taking an extra step to add a little extra momentum. Same movement as that dropping front lunge. We'll do the other side. So step and step. The last progression could be to bring a little extra load along. Pretty advanced, and you really got to be sure that you're comfortable with your deceleration to bring an extra weight along. So I wouldn't rush to get there, especially if it's a new movement to you. No sense in loading it up. But there's a simple sort of 5-step progression, all training that ability to absorb force. Primarily, the knees are the focus of this movement. So want to be gentle if you have a knee history, and even if you don't, you want to be gentle. You be gentle on yourself. That's the way. But if you have other questions like that, please let me know. One of the other questions was like, why do we do this? And that sort of deceleration force is something that you use every time you're walking downhill, walking downstairs. If you do any sort of skiing and alpine sports, it's used certainly running downhill. It's very intense. So this is the kind of place where a lot of injuries happen. That quick eccentric loading. So this is a safe way to draw that pattern out and practice it, so that when you're doing it, when you're not thinking about it and you're thinking about having fun or having a nice day and not just concentrating on your movement and your knees, it'll be there for you. Anyway, if you have more questions about that, yeah, let me know. Thank you.